When I see you walk, when I see you walk, when I see you walk, when I see you walk. I don't know what kind of spell you've been putting on me, but everything about you, I love your personality. You look like I'm not afflicted, you're in my mind. I see something that you drive me crazy. You know, you the baddest of them all. Check that out. You the baddest of them all. Check. You the baddest. You the baddest of them all. Check that out. You the baddest of them all. Feel about worship and chest over you. When I see you walk, 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 when I see you walk. Don't know what it is about you that I like so much. You're the girl I dream about, you're everything I want. You make hard things look so easy, you're just so perfect to me. Something about you drives me crazy, you know. You take control like a boss queen, you running all gotta take her. You're running through the baby world and now, girl, you're my girlfriend. The baddest of them all. You're the baddest of them all. Check. You're the baddest. You're the baddest of them all. Check. Back. You're the baddest of them all. Feel power, show to charge over you. Ikaw ang nasa isip para masimulan. Dahan-dahan nakikita na walang hanggan. Tara na, papunta sa patungo. Hawakan ng kamay at huwag kang lalayo. Hey, halika dito. Sumama ka sa akin at sa alon ng mundo. Parang nananaginip lang. Pwede ba na totoo? Kumagising man ako. Pumasok pa rin na. When I see you walking, when I see you walk, when I see you walking, when I see you walk, when I see you walking, when I see you walk, when I see you walking, when I see you walk. Oh, girl, you never lied. You always stayed by my side. 'Cause in my life I need you, but beside me when I fight. Girl, you stay stronger, yeah. You make me a believer, right? Tell the world that you're mine, go round and round we go. You're the baddest of the hearts, check your battle. You're the baddest of the hearts, you're the baddest of the hearts, check your battle. She the baddest of the hearts. Feel the power, she'll take charge over you. Baddest of them all.
Yeah, I followed you, and I've been there, 2 different places. I've been feeling like I don't have the power in me. It took me a few days to finally understand. Got to push harder, the failures only made me strong. I used to be so careless, but now I'm more than fearless. Don't stop yourself, 'cause the wood is us were made to be broken. But we won't stop. So let me hear it, I'm on it now. Every step take, until we break. There's something to do. When it's hard to see, just give it to me. There's something to do. Nothing can hold us back. Let's make it moment last. Every day away, 'cause we don't know. Listen up, do this, do that, just climb up the ladder and get my help in the end. Sometimes it's harder, and all you need is some time. It'll take you a few dead ends to finally understand. Got to push harder, the failures only make you strong. I used to be so careless, but now I'm more than fearless. Don't stop yourself, 'cause the word is 'cause we're made to be broken. But we won't stop, we won't stop. So let me hear it, I'm on it. Now every step we take, how do we break? There's nothing we can do, do. When it's hard to see, disappear to me. There's nothing we can do. Nothing can hold us back. Let's make the moment last. If you have it, then won't fade away. 'Cause baby, you were born to win. Now I have found my confidence, confidence. There's only one me, yeah. We were born to live, born to make mistakes. Every boundary we break, every step we take. Together we can go facing anything. Now every step we take, boundary we break. There's nothing we can do. When it's hard to see, just give it to me. There's nothing we can do. Nothing can hold us back. Let's make the moment last. If you have it, then we'll fade away. 'Cause baby, we're born to win. We're born to win.
We both made mistakes, is what it is. Who am I not to forgive? Won't point the blame, won't call no names. I know you still feel the same. Oh, nah, don't worry now. If love is in your heart, we're gonna figure out. Never let go, stay together. I'll be like, oh, nah, you see the light. The sun is on your side through the dark time. And I'll be there if ever you feel lonely. Soon as the waves die down, we'll keep on rising. My hands won't let you drown. Just keep fighting for me. Don't let your fears give you pain when it's storming. Soon as the waves die down, we'll keep on rising. Some of these days just feel different. I'm feeling the weight of the world. Pray to whoever listens. Because I'm thinking about tomorrow. And tell me, why should we cry some more? Oh, nah, don't worry now. If love is in your heart, we're gonna figure out. Never let go, stay together. Now you see the light. The sun is on your side through the dark times. And I'll be there if ever you feel lonely. Soon as the waves die down, we'll keep on rising. My hands won't let you down. Don't let your fears give you pain when you're storming. Soon as the waves die down, we'll keep on rising. If nothing is fair, try forgiveness. I'm only human like you. Living with hate just leaves bruises. And if we all have a purpose, why do we keep hurting? Nah, don't worry now. If love is in your heart, we're gonna figure out. Never let go, stay together. Nah, you'll see the light. The sun is on your side through the dark times. And I'll be there if ever you feel lonely. Soon as the waves die down, we'll keep on rising. My hands won't let you drown. Don't let your fears give you pain when it's stormy. Soon as the waves die down, the world turns and we still learn what it is to be somebody. When time's hard, we pray hard. Lord, give me a sign today. Let's find ways and better days. Understand it takes some time. As the world turns, we still learn. We're all gonna be okay. Soon as the waves die down, keep on rising. My hands won't let you drown. Don't let your fears give you pain when it's stormy. Soon as the waves die down, soon as the waves die down.
Hello, everyone! Yes, we are so excited to be here with all of you guys. So welcome to day 2 of PhilProCon. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. We are so happy to be here because we have such an amazing and exciting show for everyone. And that was a very inspiring video that we all just saw, produced by Mix Global, called Rise Together, featuring Eric Bellinger, Inigo Pascual, Sam Concepcion, Moose, Avi, and Vince Nantes. And prior to that, we also saw performances from very talented P-pop idols from Beanie and BGYO, who are going to have an amazing weekend this weekend, you guys, because they are having their first ever virtual concert tonight, the One Dream concert. So it's going to be a very exciting day for all of us. But before I get, too carried away, I'm so excited. Let me introduce myself. Hello, everyone. I am Sam with 2M's from Mix Global, and I'm honored to be here with my co-host, TJ Manotok. Hi, TJ.
Hi, Sam. Hello, all the way there in the Philippines. Good evening from San
Yes.
Francisco. And you know what, folks, stay tuned because at the end of this session, we'll be announcing some lucky names who will get passes to tonight's concert. You know what? It's day 2 today. Yesterday we had day 1, and I enjoyed a special session with my coworkers from TFC yesterday. We did this Pinoy Pasko around the world panel.
Wow.
God, I can't believe, check your clocks. It's November already. It's November 5 here, 6 in the Philippines. And it just feels like yesterday was New Year's, right? Christmas is 50 days away. This will be our second pandemic Christmas. And while things are slowly opening up around the world for travel, gatherings, and whatnot, we're just glad that we still get to enjoy being together somehow, some way, even on a platform like this, right, Sam?
Definitely. And we were just talking about this, no, TJ, a while ago. Like, wow, this platform is amazing, bringing all of us together from different parts of the world. And I also cannot believe it's almost Christmas and New Year. I feel like I'm still processing 2021, but that's life, you just gotta go on, move forward. But I totally agree, TJ. I feel so inspired listening to some speakers from yesterday and earlier today. And I'm sure most of you are anticipating more. Do not worry, we got you, because this is the celebration of the bridge between the United States and the Philippines. And that is really why we are here today. We want to remind everyone that in this global community, we are all family. We are all Filipinos at heart.
Absolutely. And coming out of Filipino American History Month of October, we want to honor this history as Filipinos are on the rise. We are no longer invisible. But you know what? There's a lot of gaslighting going on today. Our history oftentimes gets rewritten to favor a narrative. This is why we want to share with you this video. It's called A Filipino American Story, produced by Next Day Better and the AARP. It's a well-researched presentation that some of you may find informative and maybe even leave you feeling proud and prouder to be part of that story. Let's watch this.
A Filipino American Story. Before the founding of America, even before the settlement of Jamestown, there were Filipinos in what is now known as the continental United States. Throughout history, Filipino Americans have led movements, confronted injustices, and have created world-shaking ideas. They disrupt. So why is their history largely untold? We must tell them to unsettle the pages of U.S. history. They reveal who we are as Americans. People from the Philippines, which was under Spain, first landed in California as part of the Spanish galleons. On future sailings, many jumped ship to form settlements in what would be known as Louisiana. It is a fact. Filipino Americans have been in the United States for centuries. In 1898, the United States entered into war against Spain and took possession of the Philippines, paying Spain $20 million. To rationalize colonization, American officials referred to this as benevolent assimilation, claiming to protect Filipinos' rights and liberties. But the Filipino people, who were already fighting for independence from Spain, resisted U.S. colonization. This was known as the Philippine-American War. Fought with extreme violence, General Jacob H. Smith notoriously ordered his soldiers to kill every Filipino boy over 10 years old. Many Americans opposed this, including Mark Twain and the African-American Buffalo Soldiers who were sent to the Philippines for battle. Somehow, America needed to justify this war. They even transported some Filipinos to the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair for display. Erased from our history, the Forgotten War became the catalyst of Filipino migration to the US. Because of the Philippines' colonial status, the people became a major source of cheap labor. And so, Filipinos migrated to Hawaii as early as 1906 to work in sugar plantations. By the 1920s, many Filipino laborers also came to the West Coast to become a driving force behind America's agricultural industry. But many of these labor migrants were met with racial hostility. White Americans accused Filipino men of stealing their jobs and women. Filipinos faced down mobs, beatings, and murder, yet they resisted this oppression. Filipino towns such as Stockton's Little Manila were formed to serve as safe havens up and down the West Coast. Labor strikes demanded fair wages and working conditions. Under pressure, Congress greatly restricted the migration of Filipinos and promised independence for the Philippines. Through it all, Filipinos continued to persevere. World War II was a time of great upheaval for both the Philippines and Filipino Americans. Japan bombed American bases in the Pacific, at Pearl Harbor and in the Philippines, prompting the U.S. to enter the war. As a colony, the Philippines allied with America. President Roosevelt established the United States Armed Forces in the Far East to enlist nearly 250,000 Filipinos into the U.S. Armed Forces, a decisive move that helped win the Pacific Theater. After the war, America granted independence to the Philippines. Filipinos who joined the armed forces in the U.S. gained the right to citizenship. Filipino veterans in the Philippines were promised citizenship as well and military benefits. However, the passing of the 1946 Rescission Act broke that promise for many of those veterans. American military bases remained in the Philippines recruiting Filipinos. At one point, there were more Filipinos in the U.S. Navy than the Philippine Navy. Many of these Navy sailors came to America. Filipino women married to U.S. military men also migrated to the U.S. These women raised families, bought land, and created communities. They built the next generation of Filipino Americans. In 1965, an important legislation greatly expanded immigration quotas. By 1970, the Filipino population had ballooned. In a decade, it had more than doubled. Many of these new immigrants were women and professionals. In the 60s, Filipino Americans fought for equality alongside Black Power and Chicano movements. In California, Larry Itliong, Philip Veracruz, and other organizers led a strike against grape businesses. Filipinos convinced Cesar Chavez and his association to join the strike. Filipinos started the 1965 Delano Grape Strike, and together with Latinos, they had one of the most successful strikes against agribusiness in history. The younger generation were also in revolt. San Francisco State University and UC Berkeley students, including young Filipino Americans, led a strike that established ethnic studies. Many other groups organized to serve the Filipino American community. There are now over 4 million Filipinos in the United States. FONS, the Filipino American National Historical Society, tells the stories of the Filipino American experience. Established in 1982 by Dorothy Ligo Cordova and Fred Cordova, FON saw the value in documenting Filipino American history, honoring October as Filipino American History Month. And why wouldn't they? Filipino Americans persevere for a just and prosperous society no matter the stakes. Whether they excel in public service, head the Filipino food movement, inspire us as sports heroes and as creative artists, whether they spark innovation across industries, lead movements for justice, fight for national recognition and the Congressional Gold Medal for Filipino World War II veterans. Filipino Americans disrupt, and their stories cannot fade. No matter what forces make us forget, we recover them, reveal, and speak about their stories. Because as we make history, we must also tell it to the world.
Wow, such an
Wow.
informative video,
Super.
TJ. Grabe, no? It was really nice seeing the United States and the Philippines having a
Mhm.
long relationship, and through the videos,
Yep.
seeing how that relationship has evolved, and it's really inspiring, which makes us to, continue to work on that relationship until this very day.
Super. I love it. I love how it's short and sweet, straight to the point, very
Mm-hmm.
concise. It's like a nice crash course on the
That's true.
history of Filipinos in America and how
Mhm.
truly important the role the Filipino community has played from way, way back. I mean, you just look
Mhm.
at today about the frontliners, the nurses, the
Mhm.
doctors, but looking back to the war and the Navy and all that, and man, they played so much, a huge part of getting the U.S. to where they are today. So kudos to Next Day Better and AARP. Thank you for that incredible video. Thanks so much.
Yes, definitely. And it was also really interesting to see all of the challenges no, that our fellow Filipinos from the past faced during that time, and even
Mhm.
more so until now. No, because
Right.
it was during the height of the pandemic that the Filipino community was introduced to new challenges, specifically misinformation and fake news about COVID-19. So
Oh
madaming
man,
fake news
I know, right?
all
Tell
over
me
the
about it.
internet. Yeah, and I remember I had a few friends who thought that if you got, the COVID-19 vaccine, like
Hmm.
somehow there are microchips in them. So when you get jabbed,
Hmm.
parang they can like, follow you in everything that you're doing and all of that. So it's crazy to think about, all of the misinformation on the internet these days.
I know, right? And I
Mhm.
work in the news, so I deal with this on a
Yeah.
daily basis, and we
Mm-mm.
see this going around in social media, and it's unfortunate that we see people believing, viral videos, memes,
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot because it kind of leans to their narrative, especially to a lot of people who don't want to be told what to do, even though
Yeah.
that world governments, World Health Organization, and
Yeah.
whatnot are out there for their safety and for their health, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we're already dealing with such a deadly virus. It was so painful to learn about friends and family in the community suffer even more as they doubted news sources and who to trust. Now it was through those conversations though, like this among young leaders, that the Tayo Help Desk was born. Now, to learn more about the Tayo Help Desk, let's watch this video.
His father wanted to fly to the Philippines in the middle of the pandemic, and we were talking about how emotional it was for you to try and explain to your father why that was not a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's like that like no, you have to do this or you can't do this. And the ways in which we are the translators for our families about what is and isn't safe, which government resources you can and cannot trust, and what does it mean for us as children telling our elders what you can and cannot do, and all the complexities around that. And I think that conversation that you told, like, that's part of the origin story of Tayo. That's why we're all here, because we recognize that in each one of our families. We can see that as a need that we really need to try and help our community through.
Yeah, now that I think about it, like just remembering that situation, I just remember all of us in a room or in this, in Zoom, like thinking, oh my God, we have a very big problem, in our community with COVID. The fact that our families, and our loved ones are all in some way related to the frontliners, right? Whether it be janitors or people who work in hospitals, like just all over the map, like mailmen, and like it was like we are the community in the United States of America that is going to be greatly impacted by this. And we knew that we were going to have a problem. I just remember, yeah, I guess because that's part of the question, that was part of the incident, right? Or the discussion is like, well, we have people who are making bad decisions and misinformation and don't have a good grasp of how big of a problem this is. And
I think what was interesting is that we all, when we were talking about this together, like we all be like, wow, we have a big problem. We have a lot of challenges ahead. And if we don't take care of this as soon as possible, we're going to be in a bad situation. And I think with Tayo, it helped prevent that bad situation from happening. We identify a potential problem in the future, and it was great to utilize our expertise in different ways of, our professional expertise and what we do in every day. We're like, you know what, we can apply this together, work together to attack a problem that we can foresee. I mean, the fact that we were able to think ahead and think like, okay, these are the things that are going to happen, and these are the things that we need to do to combat misinformation, provide reliable data, connect communities, and get ahead of it. And I think the impact of Tayo was great. I mean, phenomenal. Like.
Now, through that video, TJ, we saw that, Tayo is able to help various people in the community in many different ways. So to know more about this, actually joining us today is Tayo's Program Director and Vice President of PhilPro, Lizelle Tanglao, with team member Jobel Vicino. Hey, guys. Hello. Do not be shy. Join us when you're on. There you go. Hi, Lizelle.
You.
Hello. Thank you for joining us today.
Yep, happy to be here.
Yes, we're so excited to be here with you, of course, and hopefully Joel can join us in just a bit. But, just watching the video, we saw that Tayo recognized that there was a problem. Everyone put their minds together and created a solution to the problems that you guys saw. So how does it feel after, a year since its inception that it's still going strong?
Yeah, it's incredible because this idea literally came out of a Zoom meeting, like what Donnie had said. And the fact that, we've been working together for like a little over a year, and many of us have still not met in person because it's a lot of it's virtual work. It just goes to show you that, when you have a group of people that are dedicated in serving the community, anything is possible, especially our community where we're being disproportionately impacted. So, we just feel very strongly about like, how can we help? And this is one thing that we were able to figure out.
Lizelle, what would you say was one of the most common misconceptions about the pandemic that you feel Tayo was able to address in this past year?
So similar to what Donnie had alluded to, like we were able to get ahead of it because we started getting questions well before the major pharmaceutical companies were announcing they had a vaccine. So a lot of misinformation was already flying around, like similar to what we're still hearing. There's magnets in the vaccine. It's super dangerous, things like that. So we knew ahead of time that was something that was already a concern for our community. So we were able to plan ahead and try to combat misinformation with accurate information that's vetted and coming from our community.
Yeah, and TJ and I were also just talking about misinformation online and fake news. So for you, Lizelle, as a journalist yourself, what is your advice to our audience today about handling misinformation online?
Well, Filipinos, we love chismis, we love sharing. That's just our nature, but it's okay to take a pause, like care before you share, think before you click. Like not everything out there is real. So it's okay to take a look. Where is that information coming from? If it elicits some kind of emotional response, that's probably a signal to make sure is this legitimate information before you share.
All right. Well, obviously you've done great work here this past year. Your efforts, your messaging is geared towards the Filipino American community, Filipinos here in the US. But if you guys were to have the opportunity, receive more funding, perhaps to expand the program, are there future plans and dreams for Tayo to expand maybe reach out as well to the Philippines and actually to the community back home.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we launched a pilot in Los Angeles, and we're hoping to expand the same template that we set up in LA to other cities in the US, but as well as our kababayans in the motherland. Because I mean, what happens there impacts us and vice versa. So it's just even more important that we expand what we started.
Oh, that is awesome. And we can't wait, obviously, for everything that you all have in store for all of us. But we do have Jabel joining us right now. So, Jabel, if you're there, do you want to say hey to everyone joining us today?
Hi, folks. Thank you so much for having me. And my apologies. There's some really bad internet issues on my end. So my video's been on and off this whole time. But really, really excited to be here and really excited to talk about Tayo.
Well, we'll give you this last bit. It's all yours. Take a moment to promote, Tayo's help desk to our viewers. If you, if and maybe as well how to use it. If you have a family member who you feel is leaning towards misinformation, how do you break the ice? Do you shove them in front of the tablet and say, "Read this"? I mean, what's the winning advice that you've given, and how you feel that this has helped families in the U.S.?
Oh, I hope we didn't lose him.
I mean, with regards to being able to speak to a family member and really working with them and breaking it down with them, I think you really got to start with, empathizing with their viewpoint and seeing where they're coming from, right? You have to begin by saying, okay, look, I understand what you're saying, but, try to see things from my way or my side. And the way to do that is to really appeal to their relation with you, to really appeal to the emotional connection they have with you, and why, the information that you're finding is so much more, or the information that you have to show them is really important, and how much it can really save or change their life, right? With regards to Tayo and with regards to the amazing projects we have in store, we have some really cool research projects coming up. We really love for folks to stay tuned to the website, stay tuned to all of the different stay tuned to all the different projects we might have going on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok.
All right, even TikTok, awesome.
Yes.
TikTok. There you go. Thank you so much.
Yeah, something our fellows introduced us
So there you
to.
go.
The rest of us are old fogies, but
You guys
our fellows are really good with that.
I gotta
With the social media.
Pointing to the facts and whatnot. So
I love that.
good. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat, Lizelle, Jobel. Thank you so much. We're grateful to you, to all the volunteers of the program, especially to our frontliners who until today, they're keeping us all safe. Our nurses, our doctors, essential workers, they truly embody the courage and valor, something we truly need to move forward today. So maraming salamat.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Lisa and Jobel. But speaking of the valor, this valor is really the main theme of Ayala Foundation's 60th anniversary. Another ally and co-presenter of this conference who have adopted Maging Magiting as their theme. I think, TJ, very appropriate during this time.
It's a catchy phrase. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but it means a lot.
Yeah.
Maging Eating. But why explain it when you can sing it? Not me. But our next guest, well, Jesse and Christian Perkins are the perfect examples of why we celebrate this bridge between the Philippines and the United States. They grew up here in the West Coast. They went to UC Berkeley on a scholarship. They were discovered of their singing abilities by ABS-CBN. They're also actors, directors, athletes, tennis to be specific. They're very good at that. And of course, with unwavering faith, we are excited to welcome on board the Perkins twins. Good morning or good afternoon. I don't know where you are in the world right now, guys. Twins.
Yeah, hey, hello everybody. We are the Perkins twins. It's actually morning here. We're in the Philippines. So guys, TJ and also Sam. We go way back with TJ. So it's good to see you again. And everybody here, we're blessed to be here. This is such a great event, and thank you to FYL, all you guys for having us. This is so much fun.
We're so excited to have you guys here, obviously. And, good morning also coming from the Philippines. And we are so excited for your live performance for us today. But before that, could you give us maybe a little bit of an idea what the phrase maging magiting means for the both of you?
Yeah, maging magiting, it's a very catchy phrase, nice phrase, but it means a lot because we want to encourage people to be brave, not just be strong, like that's the typical
Physically, yeah.
image of being brave, but being brave in whatever you do, right? Helping one another, loving one another. There's so many ways you can be brave, and that's the message we want to give with this.
Yeah, I think you mentioned earlier it's perfect for this time that we're in, right? A lot of people are afraid. There are so many uncertainties in life. I think we're all aware now that life is so fragile. So if that's the case, right, then dapat maging magiting tayo, right? We need to be brave, and yeah, it's a great rallying cry, and obviously for everybody.
There you go. Very well said for these young guys who full of such wisdom and very magiting. So we're excited, and we're sure the heart emojis will be flooding during the session. So take it away, guys. The floor is yours.
Sure. So we're gonna sing a song called oh, perfect. We were doing this earlier, but we're gonna sing a song. It's actually an original song. I just wanted to give a quick shout out and thank you to Mr. Ruel Maranan from Ayala Foundation, who is the inspiration behind this whole song in terms of the lyrics and everything. And we were blessed to be able to produce it with them. So this is an original Tagalog song. We're speaking a lot of English, but it's the Tagalog song, and I hope you guys like it. It's all about being magiting. It's called maging magiting. All right, so this is it. Sorry, I'll just get it real quick. I'm sorry, guys. This is a digital thing. One day, God willing, we're able to perform this, dance, and everything. But for now, we're just gonna sing it for you guys. Hope you like it. Here we go. Isinilang ako sa bayang magiliw, tuwirang makatulay, marangalang paligid. Hangin ng sariwa, mga tao'y natatawa. Buhay ay siyang tunay na maginhawa. Tumaan ang taon, nasayang ang mga pagkakataon. Nawala sa landas, nawalan ng kulay. Sayang ang sanang magandang buhay. Ano ang gagawin sa bayan kung magiliw? Ano ang sasabihin? Sino ang dapat sisihin? Ako, ikaw, tayo ang lagot. Ako, ikaw, tayo ang sagot. Maging magiting, tayo ang magbibitiw. Sa isip, sa salita, at sa gawa. Maging magiting, maging magiting, maging magiting, tayo ang magbibitiw. Sa isip, sa salita, at sa gawa. Maging magiting, dapat sundan. Piliin natin ang tamang daan. Mag-aaral ka para umunlad, upang buhay ay umusad. Pag ng sarili ang isipin, kapwa ay pansinin. Sila ang muong nabigyan ng halaga. Pag nagkabayanihan lahat maganda. Maging bukas sa kinabukasan, kumayot, magdasal ng mabusan. Kakayanin kahit mahirap, marating lang ang pangarap. Here we go! Ako, ikaw, tayo ang lagot. Ako, ikaw, tayo ang sagot. Maging magiting, tayo ang magbibitiw. Sa isip, sa salita, at sa gawa. Maging magiting, maging magiting, maging magiting, tayo ang magbibitiw. Sa isip, sa salita, at sa gawa. Maging magiting. magiting. That's it, guys. Maging magiting. That's a song.
There you go.
Woo! Perkins Twins, everyone. Yes, I love it's very upbeat. Starting
you,
my
guys.
morning, right?
Kathy,
Very exciting performance.
That's
Thank
gonna
you.
serve as a great LSS for the rest of the day.
Oh, nice,
Yes.
nice.
But
For
before we
sure.
get to go, guys, let's catch up a bit with you guys now. You,
Sure.
as you said earlier, before we introduce you, you're a perfect example to speak about why we're doing what we do today. The bridge for the Philippines and the U.S. You were born, raised here. You grew up here. You spent a lot of time in the Philippines. You're there right now. But as Philams, what was it like growing up here in the U.S. and why do you think it's important to foster this relationship between the two countries?
Yeah, you know what an honor to kind of represent the Phil community today in a sense. But it's really true. Ever since we were young, my brother and I, our parents, actually my dad's American, right? And our mom's Filipina. And it was always such a nice mixture of both worlds. And we were blessed to be able to travel back and forth when we were growing up. So like whenever we would come to the Philippines, because we grew up in the States, whenever we would come here, we were never culture shocked or anything. It was always like, wow, we're so excited to come back to the Philippines and experience it here. And look, we're here now, right? I mean, we love it here so much. We've been here for a long time. And obviously, it's important where you come from. And that's something that a lot of people take a lot of pride in. And of course, tayo mga Filipinos, right? We always love to stick together and to make our presence known. So, but it's also nice because the Filipinos have so many nice qualities that, God willing, we can also share to the whole world, right? Being so kind, smiling faces, all those things that not everybody has, right? But hopefully one day more people will be like that. So we're blessed to be, who we are by God's grace. We're all fearfully and wonderfully made naman, kahit wherever you're from, right? But of course, we're Filipino, so we take pride in that.
Oh, and we take pride too that you guys are here to share this with everyone, of course, inspiring the Filipino American community and sharing your talents with everyone. So thank you, Perkins Twins, for joining us. But before we let you guys go, please take this moment to promote your upcoming shows and also your music and where everyone can follow you online.
Sure.
Yes, we are the Perkins Twins. We're actually twins.
We're actually twins.
Check us out, on all the social media stuff: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Perkins Twins. And also check out that song. I think it's probably gonna be coming out somewhere. But yeah, we're just again, thank you everyone here. We're blessed to be here, and I just want to encourage everyone, keep going strong. Don't give up. And one of our favorite verses: whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good report. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. So just think on the good things in life, and don't give up.
Yep. And thank you again to Ayala Foundation for kind of allowing us to be part of this. But everyone, all you guys, good to see you, TJ. Also, Sam. We love everybody. God bless. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Regards
Thank you,
to
guys.
this coffee shop.
Love it.
All right. Okay, well, that was awesome. They're a perfect example of kids who had that blessing of that amazing best of both worlds, to be able to connect their roots and make an impact in the U.S. and Filipino communities as well. Now, our next speaker is someone who has taken this a step further in his philanthropic work, giving back to underprivileged students, giving books, leadership conferences, and more.
Yes, with humble beginnings in Goa, Camarines Sur, working as a janitor when he came to America, graduating top of his class with a law degree, and now leading a foundation for more than 20 years, we are happy to introduce to you Attorney Francis Padua Papica.
Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Sam. I hope you could see me. I could not see myself. I'm not good at this platform.
We can hear you, attorney, but if you see there you go.
There you go. Can you hear me, though? I know you can hear me, but I could not see myself. That's the problem with this platform. I'm not too good at this, and I'm trying to figure out how I could make sure that the audio works
Well, we can hear you loud and clear. I think that's the
All
most
right. I think that's the most important thing, right? I was hoping, thank you, Sam, thank you, TJ. And I was hoping they would ask me to actually sing and perform today, but I guess that's not what I'm going to be doing. I was hoping to be on the screen with you guys today. I'm so excited, but I don't know what happens to the screen. I was with you guys earlier today, but something must have happened, and I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'll just keep on going, and hopefully we could finish this, and hopefully I could be back on the screen. But today, thank you guys, FYL, for asking me to be with you today. I've been asked to talk about this topic. It's called The Heart of a Leader: Challenges, Lessons, and Inspirations. So as I was thinking about the topic, I started thinking about what and who a leader is. In this day and age, there is one place we always turn to in times of perplexing questions, mundane or otherwise. You know what that is, right? Yes, the internet. The best definition I could put together from various sources is that a leader is a social influencer, not necessarily of authority or power, who maximizes and promotes the efforts of others towards the achievement of a goal. But the more I think about it, we care less about the definition of a leader, but more so, we are truly concerned about what truly defines a leader. To put it simply, what is the heart of a leader? So next slide, please. Mother Teresa once said, a true leader should be someone that emulates what Mother Teresa really stands for. She once said, people are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway. For you see, in the end, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. In other words, my friends, in the heart of a true leader is the desire to give his best, come hell or high water. No ifs, no buts, but simply because he understands an old Quaker proverb that says, next slide, I shall pass this world but once. Any good, therefore, that I could do, or any kindness I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall never pass this way again. And so, my dear friends, I'm only allowed to talk for 15 minutes. I was hoping it would be a little longer, but I'll try to make it within that 15-minute time frame. I apologize now for I'm about to embark on a self-serving narrative about a topic that is I'm so familiar with, so knowledgeable and an expert on, and that is about me. So allow me to set aside the virtues of humility, extol a little bit of vanity, and hopefully illustrate the journey of my life where it has taken me into the relative, not so young age of going through the challenges, lessons, and ultimately inspirations by using what turned out to be the manifestation of what I hope is the heart of someone who is seen by some as a leader, but someone who simply is trying to make a difference in this world, one person at a time. Next slide. This is me. This is my family. To the left is a picture of my dad, my mom. I'm the oldest of the family of three. That's my sister, and that's my youngest brother. I grew up in a small town in Goa, in Camarines Sur, a true Bicolano. I started grade school there, finished high school. I was the school valedictorian in elementary and high school. I was the corps commander. I was the pianist at church, pianist at school. Then when I graduated high school, I moved to the US. And that was back in 1985. That was about 36 years ago. That kind of tells you what my age is. But don't ask me what my age truly is, because you'll never get it from me. So just do your calculations. I always tell people that I went to law school because I was never good at math. So anyway, when I first came to the United States in 1985, the year after that, my father, who I haven't seen for quite a long time before I moved to the United States, died of a heart attack. First time. And I was 17 then. And as a result of that, my world was turned upside down. Next slide, please. It was one of those things where I really did not know what to do. But then again, we had to move on. So I went to school, went to UCLA. I worked during the evenings from 10 to 6 o'clock in the morning. And that was called a graveyard shift. From my graveyard shift, I would take the bus from my house, which was in downtown LA. And from there, I would take a bus ride about an hour and a half to UCLA, which was in Westwood. And sometimes I would miss my bus stop because it was a long ride and I would fall asleep. But I always make it to my class. And luckily at UCLA, I was able to finish my job, my schooling as a cum laude, Bachelor of Arts in History. And while I was doing my first job as a janitor, and I had no choice but to work as a janitor. It's my first job because when my father died, he had no life insurance. For those of you who are familiar with what I'm talking about, if you leave your family behind in the United States without a life insurance, life is pretty tough. You have to fend for your own, and you have to fend for your own family. Being the oldest in the family, of course, I had to do what I needed to do. And luckily for me, I was part of the honors program at UCLA, and I only had to go to school once a week. And the rest of the week, I was doing my job as a janitor. And luckily, I was actually promoted, and I was able to find another job as a working for the court reporter's office at the Superior Court of Los Angeles. After UCLA, I went to law school. I went to Syracuse Law School in New York, where I finished my law degree in 1991. I was ahead of my class because I wanted to get out of school and started earning money at that point in time. And luckily, because of hard work and I needed to prove myself, I was the only Filipino in a class of 101 students for the first year. And I graduated cum laude with the grace of God. And during that time, being the only Filipino in a class of 101, it taught me so many different things. It taught me to be strong. It taught me to be friendly with everybody else, because I think regardless of the color of your skin, all you have to really do is prove your worth to everybody else. And once you prove your worth to everybody else, they will know how good you are. And the lessons I learned, given the fact that I went through knowing what it takes to be successful at an early age, to go through hard work and hard labor. The lessons I learned, next slide please, is God answers prayers in 3 ways. Yes, because you deserve it. No, because you deserve better. And not yet, because the best is yet to come. Oftentimes, in things that we do, we are dictated by the people around us and what they think of us and what we want them to think of us. When I graduated law school, I applied for a job. I got my first job after I passed the bar for the first time. And it was a firm that didn't want to take me in because they thought I was a candidate for a blue blood firm. That means a firm with about 50 attorneys in the top tier firm in the country. At that point in time in my life, I decided I wanted to start with a small firm where I could prove myself and be able to stay with that firm for a long time to make it my home. And that's what's been happening in my life. I've been with this firm that I've worked with for the past 30 years because I found a home from the very beginning when I started looking for a job. I wasn't looking for the best firm that could give me the best money. I was looking for a firm that will take me in and find a place where I could call home. So, my dear friends, the lesson I learned is don't let the opinions of other people determine the image of yourself. There is no need to feel either appreciated or understood. Be even-minded. What you think about yourself is everything. What others think about you has no value at all unless you choose to give it a value. And the reason I say that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you see what I'm talking about? I work for the court. So when I talk, I always say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. That's what I do. I try cases before the jury. And speaking of which, discrimination is rampant in the kind of work that I do. When I first started as an attorney, I would go into the courtroom. And when I go into the courtroom or a deposition, a bunch of attorneys would look at me and say, oh, we could start the deposition because the court reporter is here now, or the court interpreter is here. And at that point in time, ladies and gentlemen, I was wearing a Hugo Boss suit with a Ferragamo shoes. And yet they think of me as a court interpreter. And yet there's nothing wrong with being an interpreter or a court reporter, but I am an attorney and should be given the respect that I deserve. So at that point in time, I realized, what should I say when given with this kind of predicament? I came up with the line that this has happened to me at least 3 or 4 times. So the second time it has happened to me, I finally told them, hey, if I were black, you would have thought I was the criminal. When I said that, everybody went silent. Nobody could say anything except to say, I'm sorry. So, my dear friends, the lesson learned is just be brave. As the singers, the Perkin twins have said, maging magiting. To me, means to be magiting is to be brave and to be a hero and to have a good heart and to believe in yourself. So when you become successful after all these years, my dear friends, you start developing confidence in yourself. And when you start developing confidence in yourself, you realize that you have made it. And once you have made it, people are starting to look at you in a different way. When people start looking at you in a different way, people will start to question your motives. People will start to question whether or not you're doing the right thing. There's a saying in Tagalog, and I'm not so sure if most of you still know your Tagalog. And it says, naniniwala ba kayo sa kasabihang, sa bawat tagumpay, may inggiterang nakasubaybay? So, when you're successful in life, you should always be watchful about the people who are jealous of your successes. The other thing that I learned throughout all the things that I've gone through in this life, I am is the 2 of the most powerful words, for what you put after them shapes your reality. As they say, confidence is silent, insecurities are loud. Remember that. I am wonderful. I am good. I am brave. I am successful. I am faithful. I am proud. And yes, I am proud to be a Filipino. And lastly, the other thing I want to impart on you as far as lessons are concerned. Next slide. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can go anywhere until you change it. If you're not happy doing something, now change it. Don't wait until the last minute in order to change it. You know, as I go through life, at this age of my life, thank goodness you cannot see me right now, so you won't know exactly my age. But at this age, next picture, please. That's how I used to look. That's not how I look now. So what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is life is short. Make the most of it. Don't wait until tomorrow to make the most of your life. As they say, there's so many times to be serious, but doing crazy shit is what makes life worth living. If you want something in your life, if you've never had it, you'll have to do something you've never done. And that leads me to inspirations, ladies and gentlemen. When I was 29, after working for about 6 years, I started my foundation in the Philippines. That was 24 years ago. Next year, we're celebrating the Francis Padua Papica Foundation. It says on the screen 20 years, but it's actually going to be 25 years next year. The Francis Padua Papica Foundation was born with a simple idea of making a difference in the lives of people, one person at a time. What is Francis Padua Papica Foundation? Well, there was no epiphany for me to start a foundation. At the age of 29, I realized I became successful, and it was time for me to bring something back to the Philippines. And I started a foundation of giving back to the society. What I did was started a scholarship fund. I started only with a few people in my hometown, and after that, it went through an enormous transformation that now we have given over 800 scholarships, and we have sustained over 75 students, including doctors, teachers, engineers, priests, teachers, as part of the foundation. Every year, we send kids to college. Right now, we have about 12 to 15 students going through college, fully supported by the foundation. And you're probably asking me, where do I get the money? The money is coming directly from me. They say that charity is not charity until it hurts. So about 50% of my salary is dedicated to helping the people in the Philippines. Next slide, please. Part of the foundation is also part of the program is Read to Live. We encourage people reading awareness and reading appreciation. Venus Rod, the 2000 Miss Universe Philippines, was a product of the foundation. She was able to go to college because of the foundation. And we are so proud of her. And she was also able to attain her master's degree in public administration. And we were able to help her attain that as part of the program for the foundation. And right now we have so many scholars who are the first in their family to be able to go to college, to be able to go to school. And now they turn around helping their own family members to go to college. Part of our foundation also is to give school supplies to kids at the beginning of every school year. We give about 5,000 to 10,000 school kits every single school year at the beginning of the year in order to help them start their education. Next slide, please. In Bicol, we also have the annual leadership convention. The leadership convention is attended by about 12,000 students from all over Bicol, listening from people of national stature, from senators, the vice president of the Philippines, from movie stars, from artists, from every single person of stature in the Philippines that could come and spend a whole day with his kids and talking about how to be successful in life. And we do that every year since 2000. And also we go through the outskirts, the most neglected areas in the Philippines, and we give out school supplies, as you could see in that slide. Next slide, please. Those are the next slides. If there are any disasters in the Philippines, we also help out during the the recovery period, especially building schools. In Bicol area, we suffer the brunt of typhoons, and what we do is give out funds in order for them to rebuild. And there were times when we have given about 1 million pesos in order to help them rebuild schools. Next slide. And these are the slides. The next slides are the kind of things that we do on behalf of the foundation. And those are the kids that attend our leadership convention that we do every year. As you could see, the people who are there, some very famous people that actually lend their time that we don't have to pay. They come voluntarily. And I come back to the Philippines so often, about 4 or 5 times a year, that I'm now a million miler with the Philippine Airlines, because I go back to the Philippines for the kind of things that I do. I know I have taken my allotted 15 minutes, so I'm going to leave with that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping that in the future, you will be guided as well by the foundation's 3 themes: leadership, scholarship, and community service. I thank you for giving me the opportunity and the platform to be able to impart to you the kind of things that I have done in my life in terms of leadership, scholarship, and community service. As we say in Bicol, Diyos mabalos and marhay na banggi sa indugabos. That means thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you very much, Attorney Francis. Awesome life story. Congratulations for everything everything that you do and you continue to do in the Philippines, and really truly hope to continue to inspire others to get back as well. But let's dig back a bit to the scholarships, Attorney Francis. You mentioned you have about 13 to 15 scholars right now, but can you count how many you've helped so far since you've begun? What is it like to be part of someone's life journey like that? I mean, being able to change a life through scholarship. I had scholars in my high school when I went to high school in the 1990s, and I'm so happy to see them successful today. What does it feel like for you to be the one to provide the path for them?
You know, it makes me able to fall asleep at night very soundly. That's the only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And because it makes me feel like a real person. It's a sense of fulfillment to be able to do that kind of thing. All this idea that to be successful in life, it's not so much the money, the cars, the house. It's the idea of being able to make a difference in the lives of people. And it doesn't have to be too many people. It just have to be one person at a time. But if you could multiply that and be able to do it, then more power to you. And that's what I'm doing. And the difference in our foundation is we don't expect people to give back to what we've done. Once you've done it, you could do whatever you want. We don't expect you to come back and do the same thing we're doing to us. If you want to do it to other people, good luck and more power to you.
Wow. And isn't that so inspiring? I just remembered something that I got from your earlier speech, Attorney Francis, which is, you know, if you're going to show kindness, you have to do it now, which I think is very timely. Something that, you know, is something that is timely all throughout, you know, the years that we've spent here on Earth, obviously. But we are also really excited that you're here because we saw through your presentation that you've been in the business for a long time now, you know, cultivating young minds and inspiring them. So for you, Attorney Francis, in your opinion, what do you think are the new challenges faced by our youth today, and what advice can you give them?
Well, you know, the one thing I've been thinking about, what really the most challenging thing for the youth of today is the antipathy to the democratic process in the Philippines. I think it is very important for us to be involved in the democratic process in the Philippines, and that's the right to vote. We need to exercise that as the youth of today. If this is a fact, 52% of the registered youth vote in the Philippines, that's 31.4 million, will decide the future of our government. So we need to get involved. People who are in the United States, who are dual citizens, who are registered to vote, and people who are in the Philippines who are actually going to vote. Regardless of your affiliation, you need to get involved. The future of the country is at stake. And that is the call for every single Filipino young leader.
All right, very well said, Attorney Francis. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you for your time this evening, this morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for sharing with us your story, your message, and we truly hope that you get to inspire many more young leaders like you. So again, maraming salamat, Attorney Francis, Papika, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for today. And, maybe in the future we'll see a foundation, VJ Sam Foundation. Why not, diba? Who knows?
Oh, I
Yeah,
would
why
love to
not?
invite you guys. I would love to invite you guys to Bicol one of these days. TJ and Sam, we would love to have you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go back to Camarines. So
Mhm.
thank you. We'll find a way. Let's do that.
Yes,
Thanks, Attorney.
definitely. We will do, we will find a way, definitely. And I've never been, so hopefully I will be able to go when everything is obviously better here on our side of the world. But, if anything, TJ, I feel like I can do anything after listening to Attorney Francis, of course, with his journey and how he started out and also how he was able to sustain the foundation throughout the years. It's just very inspiring. And I think that we need more people like this today who can really shine their light during dark times with the power of hope and inspiration, because this is very contagious. And I feel so grateful to share this with everyone here today. But sadly, we are almost at the end of our program. But before anything, we want to remind you all that the Filipino channel is giving away tickets to Beanie and BGYO's concert that is happening tonight. Yes, very exciting. So P-pop is very much alive, and their One Dream online concert is so exciting. So 2 Pinoy idol groups to perform for the very first virtual concert.
And we have, as we mentioned earlier, we have pre-selected 10 lucky winners from the pool of registrants for this PhilProCon as we close out this session. So stand by to check if you're a winner for the concert passes. Please find and message PhilProCon Conference Chair Kid Zulweta. Her name here is PhilPro Kit in the chat box and in the conference to claim your conference ticket.
There you go. And as we close this hour that we all spent together, we just want to thank everyone for joining us, and we really hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. So without further ado, here's Beanie and BGYO to close this plenary. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Congratulations, Phil Bro! Mabuhay from BGYO! Hope to see you soon! You're the goddess of the mall. Check that out. You're the goddess of the mall. Listen up.